Heard you. Nice. Let's go. Okay. So, I heard you. I did hear you. So we gave you the opportunity. Now let's get back to the talk. I heard you. Okay, that's cute. Now let's sit down. Come on. Sit. Got it. Okay. Now, here's where we are. And so, I'm not one who likes to deny. Are you ready? Are we going to listen? Are we going to talk? You asked the question and now we're trying to answer it. What it seems like is perhaps you don't really want the answers because then you got to grapple with some really complicated issues. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You don't want to hear it? That's what you're saying? You don't want to hear it? Why are you standing up? No one can hear you. So why don't we just talk about it? Let's talk. Let's talk. Really, sir? Here's the thing. We met with leaders in Palestine, because I'm in the armed services here. So part of my job is to meet with leaders around the world so that we can figure out what's actually going on in the ground to not only protect American lives, but also our allies, and to do those things to keep us safe. And so we met with those folks, sat down and asked the tough questions. I was able to ask Prime Minister Netanyahu what he was going to do about this humanitarian crisis. And I think as your representative, you want us to have to answer those tough questions. We were able to ask the World Food Program. We were able to ask them what actually is going on the ground. Because we hear things in social media, we hear things on TikTok, but what's actually going on the ground? And so when we found out what's going on the ground is that everyone, whether they are, and let me just make this point too. If you want to know about issues in St. Louis, who do you talk to? People in Washington, D.C., and California, or St. Louis? St. Louis, right? But, so if you want to talk about what's going on in the ground in the Middle East, you got to talk to people in the Middle East, the leaders in the Middle East. And so that's what we did. I was able to make 2 congressional delegations so that we could find out exactly what's going on. And so that's exactly what we did. And what we found is that the takeaway was the same with everyone. We need to surge aid. We need to end the war. We need to return the hostages. And we need to give Gaza a viable future without Hamas. Everyone agrees with that. Every single leader that we talk to Palestinians on the ground, we talk to Israelis on the ground, everyone said the same thing. Surge aid, end the war, return the hostages. There are still 50 hostages, 20 of them are still alive, and give Gaza a viable future that doesn't include Hamas. Because there's another thing you don't want to talk about. Let's talk about October 7th. October 7th was not just, I'm just going to keep it okay. October 7th was not just a terror attack. October 7th was an invasion. Oh, this is coming from Palestinians. I know you don't want to hear that. So, what Hamas leaders were doing when they breached Israel's wall, they sent a message to not only Gazans, but also they were hoping that Arabs in Israel, who are Arab Israelis, would also rise up. But they didn't do that. As a matter of fact, they stood more firmly with Israel after that horrible terrorist attack. So, what I'll say is, what I've said before, not what has been attributed to me on social media, because you won't find one quote from me that differs. We need to surge aid to make sure that people get fed and water. We need to. You disagree with that? You disagree with that? We need to end the war. We need to return every single hostages and Hamas has to go.
Thank you, Congressman Bell.